Tonight, on the eve of College Decision Day, we look at how the pandemic is changing higher education. With remote learning, cash-strapped students are wondering if they're getting the education that they paid for.
Welcome back to Vox Popcast, the weekly pseudo-academic roundtable pop culture analysis with drinking and swearing. My name is Christopher Maverick, but you can call me Mav, and I am once again here with my co-host, Wayne Wise. How's it going, Wayne?
I'm all right.
Oh, so tired.
Yeah.
We both had the week off last week.
Yeah.
It was a week off where Katya and Hannah did a lovely show about Victorian underwear. So we're not doing the, of which night of Victorian women's underwear. It was a show about the corset. It's really fascinating. Everybody should go listen to it. But you and I had nothing to add there.
Not a thing. Not a thing. I personally have not worn a corset since Victorian times.
Yeah. But it was pretty much. Well, little something different this week. Something different. We had a show several months ago, I guess it wasn't the before times. It was very, very much at the very beginning of the pandemic. We did this show where we talked about what it was like to finish your senior year of high school in quarantine. You remember that? It was like 40 years ago.
Yeah. At least. I was still wearing my Victorian corset.
Yes. well, back when we did that, it was a really fascinating show. We invited a couple of teenagers on. We invited Sophie and Tristyn on to talk about what it was like finishing up senior year and essentially on your couch. And we had this hopeful message there that, hopefully this would all be over and they'd be able to go to college and the world would be lovely and wonderful and we would not be falling into a garbage fire of despair.
Yet here we are.
Yeah, none of that happened. So we thought we'd do a follow-up show where we talked about this is kind of freshman year in quarantine after you finished your senior year of high school and you try to start your life, but you can't go anywhere. So welcome back, Sophie and Tristyn. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So
I also want to mention, we talked with Sophie a year ago about expectations for college and what to expect, and a show just offering all kinds of advice and whatever. And Sophie, I apologize that you didn't get to use any of that.
That's crazy.
I remember that being a really fun episode, and
Yeah.
I felt like we gave you some really nice advice, none of which is practical in the new world.
If only we had thought about global pandemics. Yeah.
Yeah. Something we didn't prepare you for. I'm so sorry.
Well, so you guys, when we talked last time, you guys were both, you're finishing up your senior year as you were preparing. You had your colleges picked out, picking roommates and majors and planning ahead, and none of that happened. And I guess a little bit of an update for where you both are. So actually, Tristyn, you go first because I know where they both are. So Tristyn, what are you doing now?
So right now I'm enrolled for fall quarter at Stanford University online. So everything is on Zoom, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you do college from your couch.
All those crazy freshman parties on Zoom.
It's crazy. They did try and do a little movie viewing on Zoom, which is really interesting, and they're doing their best, but it's definitely not the same. It's all new, but I try and break up the monotony sometimes by just going to different rooms in the house. It's like traveling to classes, but instead it's a room.
You're walking across campus to the den.
Yep.
We will link Tristyn's YouTube channel, which was supposed to cover her first year of college, in the show notes. But I watched your first episode of the year. Here's my first week at school, and it's literally her going from room to room. Going, okay,
That's literally Exactly.
I need a change of setting. So now I'm in my parents' closet.
Yep. It's crazy. It's so funny. I was thinking, like, how do I make content that is interesting and engaging when I'm just in my house, like, all day, every day?
My favorite part of it is there's a point where she gets tired of schoolwork. So she's like, now I'm going to hem this shirt. I know that's not interesting to anybody else, but this is what I'm doing today. So
Yeah, pretty much.
that was my favorite part of the video. Sophie, you're a little different. You chose a different path. What are you doing?
I did. So I think like a lot of kids that just graduated, taking a gap year didn't seem like that bad of a decision because what a more perfect year to do it. So that's what I decided to do. Got a job, so I'm not just being lazy sitting on the couch, but definitely different than going back to school.
But it's not that gap year hitchhiking through Europe kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't go to. Well, she's an American. We're not allowed to go to Europe. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Or anywhere else.
Yeah.
And just to mention that, one of our fairly regular guests, Michael Chalmers, his son Zane. Hi, Zane. If Mike is listening, put this message out there. Zane graduated last spring as well, and same thing. He had planned on going to a community college in the Santa Cruz area, and same thing. He decided to do a gap year. So you're not alone, Sophie. I think that's a pretty regular choice by a lot of people.
Yes, just if I can quickly mention, at Stanford, they said that almost 400 students took a gap year, which is literally just unprecedented. So
how many people were in the class?
Our class is about like 2,000 students.
Oh, wow. So like,
yeah.
So like 20%. Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Or no, like 20. I can't do math.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20%. I was right. Well, but I don't know. Like Wayne mentioned the show that we had Sophie on, just about a year ago now, like this last fall, and we were talking about like all the plans and stuff, and we had there's no way to plan for it. Like any advice that I wasn't around in 1912. I don't know what people did during the last
the Spanish flu, right?
Right. And it's just, I can't imagine. I mean, it's weird because neither of you are on your campuses. I actually am. I'm teaching at a college, and that's weird enough. Like I have to sit there and teach in front of a class wearing a face mask, and no one can understand me, and I can't understand them. Everybody sounds like Charlie Brown's parent. It is so bizarre.
I was in Oakland, where the University of Pittsburgh is, a couple weeks ago, on a Wednesday morning for various reasons, and had some time to kill and walked around the Pitt campus. And it was a ghost town in September on a Wednesday morning. Just like I didn't see students anywhere. Now, it's possible they were all just locked in their dorms or in their classrooms and whatever, but just this time of year. Yeah, I mean, this time of year, I worked in Oakland for years. This time of year, Oakland is just polluted with students.
Mm-hmm. Do either of you know anybody who actually did go and is on campus anywhere?
Yeah.
And what do they say?
They don't really, it's not the freshman experience they were hoping for.
Yeah.
That sums it up. Yeah.
It's sort of weird because there's two problems. There's the educational problem of just the entire way we're doing this, whether you're doing school online like Tristyn is, or in person, or weird hybrid models that I'm supposed to be teaching. Like none of it is educationally normal or even like it's no one wants this. It's not not how anybody wants it to be. But also just the idea of being there. Like I understand, Sophie, I understand why you took the year off, because college isn't just, we told you when you were on the show for that show, it's not just about going there to learn. You're going to make friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. Remember we said that, Wayne? Mm-hmm. Nope, not going to happen. Freshman parties, Sophie, I met your parents at parties. Like again, we just, the reason I know Sophie is because, her dad, I know a little bit. Her mom, I know very well. We just, we used to hang out at parties and dance and drink and stuff. That's where I met them. And that's just gone. Like I don't even know what you would do if you went to campus. Like you can't hang out with people. You can't talk to, you can't talk to anybody,
And
God, you're not hooking up with anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and in watching the news, students are doing all those things anyway. And I just saw, I forget what university it was, like University of Pennsylvania, I think, like a 55% in COVID cases just this week.
Yeah.
So it is, people are still doing that. And I understand why, I get why it's happening in spite of everything, but it's wow. Like I went to parties as a freshman, and I suppose dying was an option if I drank too much and did stupid shit, but not because I was going to breathe. Right.
It's just I can't even imagine. I mean, I see my students who are actually on campus, and at the school I work at, they're being really safe. I mean, it's rare that I see anybody try to walk around without a mask. I don't see a bunch of parties going on. I don't know that they're not there, but I don't see it.
There's also like 12 people there in the middle of nowhere. So
right. Well, 1,200. I mean, it's a small school, but they are there.
Well, and the thing with a small school with 1,200 students, they all know each other.
Not yet. They're freshmen.
Right.
Like
but I'm saying, at a small school, like you unless you are completely isolated in your room, you get to know everybody on some level or another. The interactions are just much more interpersonal and intense than in a larger college.
Mm-hmm. So we talked on the last time we talked about things like, you guys not getting to see your friends and stuff. So what do you do now? I mean, I joked about Tristyn's YouTube channel, but like, are you even really leaving the house at all?
Personally, I've come to a point where like you really just cannot be inside all day for like mental health reasons. You just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, since like the beginning of quarantine, I have a set group of people that I see like every week or 2 weeks or so. So I'm being very careful, making sure that like we're the only people that we see. But I'm willing to take like the very small risk, like being super safe, wearing a mask, seeing the same people so that I can, like have some interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm doing it in the safest way possible. But there is always that small fear of like, oh my God, what if something just happens and it gets passed somehow,
Mm-hmm. And are they all still around? Or, are they also doing college from their couches? Did any of them leave and go away? Or?
Yeah, all of the people I'm seeing are doing college from their couches. Like I had a few friends who were planning on going just as I was, and then their school canceled like 2 weeks after mine did. So everybody, with the exception of literally only 2 people that I know, are here at home.
Okay. And Sophie, what about you? Like I remember you joked on that the last time you guys were on, you joked that, I haven't put on real clothes in 2 months, and but now you're going to work at least.
Yeah. And I think that really helps because I'm able to get out of the house still and, keep myself busy, especially after, a lot of my friends were leaving for college and I wouldn't be able to, I wasn't seeing them, but, it's different when they're actually gone. To keep my mind off it and keep doing something, so I think that really helps.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't really get to say goodbye to most of them, I would assume. Or, it's 2020. You have a phone, you have a phone and a computer. You could talk to people. I get it. But like, you haven't really, there's no, oh my God, everyone's leaving next month. Let's have a big, huge party like that. That can't happen.
Yeah, none of that. But I think maybe 2 or 3 of my really close friends, like we socially distanced, said goodbye, like we were outside and stuff. But just to see them, because I hadn't really seen them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was at least nice to see them in person one last time.
I can't even imagine. What do you do with your spare time now? So Sophie, I imagine you have a fair bit of it when you're not at work. You get to, you don't have homework, right?
Yeah, which it does kind of suck because I do find myself being like, I don't have homework to do. I don't have a project I need to get done, which crazy. I know it's kind of sad and boring. I try to just keep myself busy doing like not mindless things. Mm-hmm. Now that it's getting colder and stuff, I can't really be outside as much.
Mm-hmm.
But, just trying to keep up with things. And a lot of my friends, I still talk to them during the day because if they're in a Zoom class, like, they're on their phones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, realistically, I don't know. There's so much school on every level. I was in a conversation with some people who were talking about teaching elementary school or watching their kids do Zoom elementary school, and the teachers yelling at them for eating during class or not wearing appropriate clothes. And I'm like, you're in your room.
Yeah.
I'm just like fuck you. If I'm doing Zoom class, I'm doing whatever I want. But
for sure.
But apparently some places have, and I mean, I would never do that I've got students that I teach over Zoom, and I would never do that with them. I don't care if people eat in class for real for me. So, whatever.
When I was at Chatham, I had kids coming up from the dorms in their sweatpants and pajamas, and whatever. I don't care.
Well, that's like, I mean, especially like a morning class. Like if a class is before, if a class is before about 2 p.m. When I was like a freshman, well, not the first, the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'm good. By like week 4, right. If the class is before 2 p.m., be happy I'm wearing pants at all. I've probably by noon I've probably showered, right? But a 9 a.m. class, oh God, no! I woke up 5 minutes ago. There's no way. I woke up. I woke up and I ran there in sweats. And this is who I am.
This is what you're getting today,
right? But I guess you don't have to worry about that. Again, looking at Tristyn's YouTube channel, I saw that you did for like Monday and Tuesday. You're like, oh, it's the first day of school, I'm dressing up, and then there was a little bit of a relaxing as the week went on.
Yes, I tried my best because there's like the studies that show that if you're dressed a certain way instead of in your pajamas, you'll be more focused. But I don't know if that's true because I just feel like it was the same for me both days, and getting dressed takes a lot of effort when you're just in the house. So I don't know. It depends on my mood.
Day 1 is like perfect makeup and hair. Day 2 is perfect makeup and hair. Day 3, it's like ponytail and just she's like
It's funny too. Like I really do the most bare minimum makeup, but it still took so much effort to just wake up like 10 minutes early, even though I don't have to commute to class. I'm literally just pressing a button, but it still feels like so. I don't know. It's Zoom fatigue is very real.
Yeah,
so real.
Looking at it differently, Sophie, since you 1 year ago weren't planning on having a real grown up job right now, but you do.
Yeah.
So is that? I mean, that's got to be a major transition too. I mean, it's weird because I don't know where you're working, but like you're in an office. You're just like an office job, right? So there are other people there.
Actually, the typical day, I'm usually there by myself. I work an office job, yes, but I do like everything by myself pretty much during my shifts. There's only a few occasions where, the boss will come in, she'll do some stuff or whatever, but usually I'm there alone.
Oh, okay. So then I guess you're not at least, so there's not really any more social. I was thinking maybe you'd have at least, they're not your friends, but at least coworkers would be some bit of social interaction, but no, apparently not.
Well, when they do come in, there is, and it's not like, every other week. Like I'll see someone usually every day, but it's never for a long period of time. Usually maybe like an hour or something.
Okay. And then
I wish I could sign up for that job. That sounds nice.
There's not really a dress code. You can eat at your desk, just chilling. It's really nice.
So do you regret it? I mean, obviously everybody regrets that we're doing this, but so clearly you would rather be doing what you were planning on doing. But do you think that given the choice of online versus taking the year off, was this the right thing for you?
I think it was, because I think I'm able to kind of learn these things before going to college. I don't know if that makes sense. Like that, I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like learning this before going to college might make it easier after college.
Yeah, that
Makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like having the experience.
So you expect to go, but you expect to go next year. You're not going in the spring. You're going to take the fall, next fall, or
Yeah, hopefully.
the world's not on fire still. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This goes, but
And Tristyn, what about you? You think this was the right choice for you? Do you wish you'd taken the year off?
Personally, I considered gapping a lot, and Stanford gave us an extension at one point, so I reconsidered it. But I think that personally, like, I do save money by being at home. So why not just save some money? I'm personally also the type of person where, like, if I take a long break from something, my motivation just goes down. I don't know how good I would be at bouncing back so yeah, just my mind, it's already like just from, I ended school in March, and that's kind of when I fell off of working a lot. And then now starting back, I'm like, wait, how do you write a good sentence? Like, it's really difficult now.
I took a massive gap between my undergrad and going back to grad school of like, I don't know, 13 years or something like that.
Yeah, I had 3 years
awful.
between undergrad and grad school. Yeah.
And she's right. Like just trying to remember, even if I take like 2 weeks off of like writing my dissertation, I go back and I'm like, what was I talking about? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I read this paragraph. I don't know who wrote this. I don't remember any of this. So I get it, but it's so bizarre. Like the situation we're in. What do you think? This is to both of you. What do you think you've learned from all this? Like, is there any positive whatsoever? Sophie, you gave us sort of one, which is at least, you're picking up, I don't know, I guess, appreciable life skills. That's something. But is there anything else? It's so hard to like find a bright side from this entire thing because, it's like, well, I learned that apparently you can shut down the entire planet for 6 months to a year. Do you feel like this is like a story that like nobody can compare to, like the specific year that you guys transitioned out of high school. Like no one alive has that story right now.
Yeah. And if all goes well, no one ever will again.
Yeah.
So you're so lucky to have that.
I don't want it any other way. I mean, I think it was easier to find positives when this started, back in March, that it was almost just time to slow down and kind of refocus ourselves. We were able to spend more time with family. And I think a lot of high school seniors appreciated that before, when we were still thinking we'd be able to go to college, spending that last time with them and just like that. And, at first it was like, ooh, spring break, like, yay. But now it's just kind of annoying and tiresome and just want the world back.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you both have younger siblings. You're both the oldest of two. Tristyn has a younger brother and Sophie has a younger sister. Tristyn, your younger brother's considerably younger, like 4 or 5 years, right?
Oh yeah, like 5 to 6 years. He is in 7th grade right now. He's 12.
Okay. And Sophie, your younger sister is only a couple of years younger.
Yeah, she's a junior now.
Okay. So it's got to be weird. So in both cases, there's a weirdness of, they're still essentially doing the same thing as last year and you're not. Is there like a weird comparison when you you're, in as much as I agree with I'm not sure anybody ever can really be a grown up, but basically you're both actual grown ups now. You're suddenly adults, and yet you're living next door to people who are in high school and junior high.
Yeah. On that note, I think this experience that we've been given for whatever reason has made the transition seem almost non-existent. Like, that you are an adult who can do adult things, quote adult, but me and my brother he's 12 in 7th grade, and we're pretty much at the same place right now. Like, we do classes the same time most days, and we're both on the computer. We have to switch around different rooms. So it's interesting. I really feel like I'm still in high school in a way.
Because like at least you get to leave. You're not at home when your sister's working.
Yeah. She's home 3 out of the 5 days a week. And like those days are just so weird to me because, you know, most of my school experience, I was in school 5 days a week. It's almost unfair that she gets to sit at home.
I felt that.
And just like, you know, do a couple hours, you know, but I do feel sorry, you know, for her because I don't know about other schools, but our school, like the fall time is a really big time, especially for upperclassmen like her. And so it's almost sad that like she doesn't get to experience that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just it's got to be like I can't even imagine what you do with your time. Which is Wayne, we were talking. I get bored just because my entire life right now is not doing the things that I like to do for fun. I can't go to the movies.
Yeah.
There's things that we like to do that are just missing.
Live music has been a thing for me. Just I go see local bands and concerts. That's been a big part of my life, and I haven't seen. It's been like a year since I've seen anything. Right,
and just like there'll be you and I got to hang out in person for the first time in 6 months, like 2 weeks ago, because your roommate got sick of like not having anything to do. So he literally rented out the entire movie theater for like 12 people.
Yeah. And there's a theater locally that's doing that for people where, like a limit of, at the most, you can have 20 people come in, and it's good prices if you get enough people. It's a good deal, but it was socially distancing. It was 20 people. Well, like you say, it was like 14 of us who showed up.
Yeah.
And it was good seeing people. And
everybody had their own row.
Right.
Yeah, we each had our own row in the movie theater, and it was just like, oh, there's Wayne over there. Hey.
And then we stood in the hallway, 6 feet apart with our mask on and talked for a little while.
And then everybody went home. And that's like,
and it felt like an amazing thing because we hadn't done anything in months.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. But on the other hand, I live with Stephanie. My wife lives here, so I get to see her every day, to the point that, it's oddly enough, you almost get sick of each other because there's no other interaction with any other human.
Yeah.
But which I imagine is what it's like to live with your parents or your sister or anything. But like you both have boyfriends. Where are they even at? Right? Like how often do you...
It's got to
be.
Oh no!
I didn't mean to ruin that. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Just no boyfriend.
Well, you had a boyfriend, and you can't just kind of. So here's something that's interesting. It turns out that if you want a boyfriend and you're a freshman girl in college, it's usually pretty easy to at least find some options.
Yeah.
Not so much right now.
Yeah.
So like you miss, like there's no, I don't even know. There's no parties. There's no mixers. I'm trying to think. What are all those things we took? Mixers. Yeah. Mixers are not drinks. Get your mind out of the gutter. Mixers.
Although there were probably drinks after the mixers.
Yeah. You never, you don't know that. Oh God. Your parents were in fraternities and sororities.
Use that word.
We did it like all the time. It's like, hey, come and do stuff and
come and
with
mix people.
Right. Well, but even we talked about like clubs and stuff when we did Sophie's "What Do You Do in College" show. There's no clubs. What do you do?
Yeah.
Actually, for Stanford, they do online clubs right now, which sounds crazy, but it's been, I think that they've accommodated for the circumstances really well. So it's actually been kind of cool the way that they've done it, I think.
So what do they do?
So like for different clubs, the way that I've been connected to students and the way that I've been like forming weird online friendships is through different group chats on an app called GroupMe. And then there's a lot of different student associations that send out their links through like Instagram or whatever. So you end up stumbling upon it. And then they had an activities fair. So at some point when you find something that you like, you apply to be in the club with like a Google form that you can easily find. And then you have like Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So it's like a maze of things that you have to do, but it is something to do. So I'm not too sad about it.
It's weird. Like, it's a Google form. I love that.
Yep.
It's like, this is what we've been reduced to. Oh, you fill out a Google form and then there's a Zoom meeting. Okay, I guess. Well, but you're probably thankful for it, right? Like,
Yes, for sure. It's better than the alternative, which would be just nothing. And I think that it is hard to like, it's very interesting to have online classes at different times and then have to track your professor's Zoom office hours and then track your club meetings. So it can be a little bit overwhelming, but I think that everybody's thankful to have the option to do something, you know, and stay connected with people during this time.
yeah. Well, does it feel any different than? I mean, it's weird because so I don't know what clubs you join, but let's say you've got I was just thinking like just different clubs. Like I can see how you might have like say a comic book club or a movie club or something, but like how do you do like juggling club or tennis?
Oh God, I don't know. That's a good question.
Or the camping club, like the hiking, like. But anyway, like what I was wondering was like, is it really any different than just being on Facebook or Instagram with like just random, like you've got friends who are into whatever you're into online that you've always had because that's how online works.
I think that it is different in the sense that, like, it definitely depends on the club. There's clubs that are smaller and bigger, so I think the size matters a lot. But if you're in like a smaller, more intimate club or a club that really focuses on building community, they do make efforts to have Zoom, like, I forgot the word right now, but basically, like, I guess a Zoom mixer. Where you meet
young people say it, Sophie.
Yeah. I just couldn't think of the word. You brought it up first, so I was like, let me use that. But there's an effort that makes it feel a little bit more personal, but you do have to put in that effort on your own end, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are things, I mean, aside from clubs, I'm thinking, and I don't know that this involves either of you, but like theater majors at Pitt, like, what are they doing?
I wonder.
Because as a performance thing, that's all with people, that's interacting. And, and you can do that. How many things have we seen in the last 6 months on TV of SNL on a Zoom call and that sort of things? But I don't know. I don't know how those programs exist right now. Some of those really very hands-on kinds of things.
Well, I do know that the Mount Olive Business School that I'm teaching at now, they recently just sent out invitations to their online play Lockdown, which I'm kind of curious how this is going to work. And it might just be on Zoom. I don't know. Sophie, what about you? So aside from at work, is there any way to make new friends? Like, or is this just a year that didn't happen for you?
I mean, I don't think I'm making friends. Like, obviously not meeting new people, on a campus, but I do have a lot of friends who were the grade below me when I was in school. So a lot of them are still here, they've become seniors. So I am able to see them and, communicate with them while still being here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I just need to point out this is completely ridiculous, but when you said grade below me, my head heard the Great Baloney. So
I was just wondering if they think she's like an old lady because Sophie, I remember her.
Probably.
Like, didn't you graduate? You don't even go here.
Oh my gosh, I was having like a breakdown because I'm turning 19 in like 2 weeks. And that just looks so old.
It's exciting though, congrats. I don't know, like 19 in a pandemic.
If I could get off the couch, I would go someplace and weep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, see, like I think, Sophie, were you 16 or 17 the first time you were on the show?
One
of the two. You were younger, but see, now you're a grown up, so you can say stuff like that, and I can say, yeah, fuck you, okay. I was like, what? I'm turning 19. That's so old. Jesus.
it was so bad. I was like talking to my mom. I was like, Mom, like, what?
Well, to be fair, the last 6 months of being 18 has been like 40 years.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, just to be fair.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be happening yet.
I do wonder again. Well, I mean, I wonder. So, okay, in a perfect world, you both get to go to your schools in real life, in person this time next year. That would be great, right? So,
Yeah.
Tristyn, you'll theoretically be a sophomore, at least in academic credits, but not in any real kind of experience. And Sophie, you'll just be starting out. So what do you imagine that is? Like, how in the perfect world, what's that look like?
Okay, Mav, should we really be giving them false hope at this point?
No, I'm saying I'm hoping. I am hoping. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know, right? Like, there's no false hope this time. There, for all we know, we're going to be trapped inside for the rest of our lives. But like, assuming. But so what I'm saying is, what's the dream? Like you can't possibly. You can't possibly believe that we're going back to some world where, oh my God, COVID is over. Everybody go lick a lamppost, like that that's not going to happen, right? But like
my favorite part of my freshman year.
Right. But what is the dream of what college could possibly look like? Like, what would make you happy? What's the bare minimum you're hoping for? Let's put it that way.
Ooh, that's low for me. The bare minimum is low. I would be happy just to be able to go on campus, like literally just to go on campus and have a, like right now people are on campus at Stanford and they've been doing pods of 8 people. So you can like only see 8 people, but I'd be okay with that personally. Like I'm cool as long as I can move.
Really? You would go for that? Like for just like to go just because it's somewhere else or what?
Yeah, mostly just because I feel like a huge thing for me with college was the physical transition of being able to be independent and function as an individual in society. So like, I love my family. Don't get me wrong. I am very thankful for them being so helpful during this time, but I would like to experience college at any level at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so you any chance to just be there is what you're hoping for. You don't care if there aren't parties and craziness. If that takes a while, you'll deal with that. You're saying.
Yeah, at this point, I have no expectations for any of that.
Okay, so the bar is very low for Tristyn. What about you, Sophie?
I mean, I think I'd set my bar about the same, like just to meet new people, start a new chapter, actually, like, how you imagine it. Because when you're growing up, you just think, okay, elementary school, middle school, high school, and then you go somewhere else on your own to a new school. And I think that's just what I'm hoping for, just to be able to go experience college how everybody else does.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't know. I don't know how everybody else does is anymore, because so like the kids at the school that I'm at, I watch them. And I'm not there at nighttime, right? For all I know, there are secret massive parties going on. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're mostly doing what Tristyn said. They're mostly, everybody's got like 3 friends and classes like, I teach in a very, very big room where all the desks are 6 feet apart. There's only 20 kids in the class. And I'm not exaggerating. The people in the back of the room are a good, 80 feet away from me. Like I can't hear them. It's weird. But you can tell, I can tell which kids hang out with each other because they even though they have to sit 6 feet apart, there are little clusters where you can tell they're friendly with each other. But just even watching people wander around campus, there's very few people. They don't associate with anybody else. So I don't know how much. I mean, I guess it's neat in that it's a friend that you've made that's new, as opposed to your little sister who's been in the next room over your entire life.
Yeah, I'm curious how Pitt's dealing with that. Just with larger campuses. I mean, with yours, Mav, it's a small campus to begin with. They can spread things out. My class at Pitt, the fall before last now already, there were 35 kids in my class. They were sitting on top of each other. We couldn't put another desk in that room.
Right.
It was that packed. And now, Pitt has larger lecture halls But they have enough classes; they can't schedule them all in that big lecture hall, you know.
Yeah.
And they have those big lecture halls because they have freshman classes with 200 people in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, stuff like that's not happening for us right now. Like our even our classes that have our classes that are in smaller rooms, they split in half, and you have to teach them twice. So there's only 10 people in the room at a time. It's crazy.
And I say, and I don't know what they're doing. Well, I do. Those 200-person classes are being done online. Yeah, I know that. So.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So that's the best. I mean, I was looking for, that's the minimum case scenario, is that you just kind of get to be there. Sophie, do you think you're going to go next year no matter what, or does no matter, I shouldn't say no matter what, because literally, you know,
hey, what could happen?
Comet could hit the earth at this point. But that is your plan. Like, you know, if you can live in the 8-person pod, you'd do that, huh?
For sure. I just want to be able to experience it. And I did not think that this year I would. Hopefully, if, you know, we're making progress and, you know, work together as a country, like, hopefully I'll be able to actually experience 8 people pods.
Wear a damn mask so Sophie can move out. That's what she said. That's what we're saying.
You dreamer, you.
And Tristyn, what about you? So are you definitely at home for spring too, or you still don't know yet?
So interestingly enough, I think that the people on campus right now are like, one of the students called themselves like a guinea pig for what we're going to do. So they did talk about, in an email I just got yesterday, about possibly bringing in freshman winter quarter. But this is like, I don't believe it. I won't believe it until I see it happen because of the way everything is.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping if they're talking about winter quarter as a possibility, I'm hoping at least maybe spring will be there in pods or something.
Just the fact that they called it pods bothers me. It doesn't sound like I expect that you're in, like, you know, just like a very sterile looking glass ball with, like, you know, 4 other people and hurtling through space or something. That's what they call them, but it just doesn't mean it doesn't. It seems almost more exciting than it actually is.
Yeah.
Hacks.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, all right. So that's the bare minimum. And what's the hope, right? Like, if you could, and again, I know that neither of you are, you know, anywhere near as crazy as I was when I was a freshman, honestly. So I don't think like neither of you are necessarily looking for, oh, let's have a party with 400 people, because it doesn't seem to be what either of you are into. What is the hope for, like, the best case scenario? We gave you the worst case worst case acceptable. What do you want to happen?
Life before COVID. It's not like one person, you have half an hour, get your shit done, and like being able to go like out going like bowling or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. So the fact that you picked bowling is like, it's the most prosaic thing in the world, but that's what we want, right?
I don't know. I'm such like a homebody and a sucker for simple things that like Mav said, like, you're reading me pretty well. I'm not like the kind of person to go out to a 400 people party. Like, I'll go bowling. But just like those fun little things.
Yeah. No, I joke, but I'm with you. I mean, that's what I'm missing, is just these small social get-togethers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Wayne, as long as you've known me, which is, I don't know, 20 years, right? 20
some years. Yeah.
Yeah. And how many barbecues do I have every summer? Barbecues and pool parties. I just like literally every other, you know, not necessarily every weekend, but like most of the summer, there's a lot of me typically posting to Facebook or Twitter or whatever, or emailing people, texting people and be like, hey, I'm going to have people over to swim and, you know, barbecue something, you know, bring some meat. I'm going to throw it on the grill. And then people come over, and that's just, I usually do that at least a dozen times every summer. And this year it's zero. You know, we just didn't do that. And it's not like, and it's never been, well, okay, there are times where I might have a formal party too, but it's not even missing the formal parties. It's missing hey, I'm just gonna, we're
Let's
bored.
hang out.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some hamburgers
Yeah.
and like, grab a swimsuit, come over, jump in the pool while I cook burgers, and then people just hang out and bullshit. And we just didn't have that. And it's weird how much you miss it, right?
Yeah.
Tristan, what about you? If you wanted to, what is your absolute best case? Are you looking for toga parties, or what's your plan here?
I think I'm pretty similar to Sophie. I don't know. Parties are okay. I don't think I would go to one more than like once a month, but I think for sure I echo just wanting to have normal interactions with people where you don't have to call it a pod, So the best case scenario would definitely be life before COVID, the standard freshman experience that was marketed to us when we applied.
False advertising.
What do they even market to you? Because it can't be, like, I think you can't have my freshman experience in a brochure, right? Because I was the kid looking for a party every night. Like that's who I was. And it's not necessarily the most academically smart thing to do, but you can't, like, what do they even try to sell for? Not for you guys. You guys it's too late, right? You've already applied. They suckered you in, right? But Sophie, your younger sister is a junior right now. She's 16, and she's gonna, theoretically, she's got to start applying for colleges next year.
Yeah.
So what do you even put in the brochure? You can't take a picture right now.
Like, ooh, no mask bathrooms. Like, I couldn't even imagine being what could you possibly look for? I don't think there's anything that would be marketable that would be better than other schools. Like, I feel like every school is having the same basic things. So I don't really know what she'll be looking for.
Well, I was talking to your mom the other day, and she's talking about, we're thinking about coming. You guys live in Connecticut, right? And I'm in Pennsylvania. She's like, we're thinking about coming out there to look at schools. And it's like, well, you can look at them. I mean, the schools are there.
It'll be much. You look at them online. It'll be much the same experience.
No, there'll be more people if you look online because they use old pictures.
Old pictures, right?
It's like there's no one here. It's bizarre.
Look at all these bell bottoms and sideburns.
I just don't even know what, I don't like, you're like, because when you even say, and both of you said this, you both said, life pre-COVID, but it's weird because if I'd asked you 2 years ago, in fact, Tristyn, I didn't know you yet, but Sophie, we did ask you 2 years ago what you were looking for. And it was very different, right? Like life pre-COVID, you guys were seniors in high school. So you definitely, and that's like the best either of you can even imagine, which is just so weird. I don't even know how to, I don't know how to deal with that because I never dealt with this before either, as we said.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how much like things change. Like if you asked us 2 years ago, like, oh, what are you looking for in college? And it's like, oh, like blah, 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 blah. And now it's just like, I want to be able to see 8 people. That would be life.
The bar is in hell right now. Like,
I want to be able to see 8 people and not die as a result.
Yeah.
Like, I would have looked crazy. Like, okay.
I don't know. It is a weird world, and I mean, resolving nothing, Wayne, because I like more so than ever. I have no answers for this, and I can't imagine again going back to Sophie's show, second show she was on, but when we talked about colleges that first time, and things like, I remember we talked about how do you study, how do you make new friends, and we had all this what I still think is really good advice. So, if you're listening to this show in, say, 2030, once we've hopefully dealt with all this, and assuming there's a planet left, you might want to go back into the archives, and that's probably really good advice. But even for next year, I remember giving you advice like, go to parties, even if you don't think you'll like them. You'll go to a party, and then you'll meet other people who don't like parties, and then you don't have to go anymore, and then that's how you find friends. We said stuff like that, or join clubs. There'll be a big activity fair where you wander around and just people are begging you to come and hang out with them. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Well,
and then that's it. I mean, we can't resolve anything here because the big issues in society around this have not been resolved.
Right.
Until we get, and 6 months into it, I'm still saying this, until we get testing, until we get people wearing masks, until we get a vaccine. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be resolved.
How much does it take? You said the 8-person pod is, sounds like a dream right now for you guys. And I understand that. It's sort of weird because from my perspective, as an old person who has to teach college, and by the way, I'm really thankful that they pay me to come in and do it. But every time I'm there, I go, how did not every single one of you do, essentially what Sophie's doing? Why are you here? This is just the only thing this looks miserable to me to just wander around covering your face all the time. These new friends, you don't even know
not doing anything other than going to class.
You don't even know what your new friends look like because you're not allowed to, I mean, teaching is, so I teach English, for instance, and I had to do, we did a peer review where people, you read each other's papers and you edit it. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, bring your laptops or your phones and mail them to each other because I'm not allowed to let you guys touch the same paper as each other. The rules are so bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and I understand why, right? Because they can't. They have to sit 6 feet apart. I can't pass the papers around, so it's just we're emailing papers back and forth, which we could have done on Zoom, right? There's no reason for us to be in the room other than that it's kind of nice to be in the room, I guess. So it was so bizarre. But on the other hand, I moved out of my house, 30 years ago. Right. So when I graduated and I graduated and went to college a long time ago, and there was no issue. It was just very exciting to do exactly what Sophie and Tristyn said. It was exciting to say, hey, I'm going to move on with my life. I'm moving to another state by myself, making all new friends, sink or swim. It's just this is me, doing stuff. But I don't even know next year if that's even going to be anything like what the college experience that they sold you on 2 years ago was, right? That 8-person pod is not living at home, but it's not going to the crazy parties. It's not having, hell, how do you even go to a football game right now? Some schools have them, but I would be terrified to be in the stands at a football game. Yeah. I wouldn't go.
Yeah, I wouldn't go either.
And I like football, but I just when I look on TV and people are like, oh, we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to go out and do this. It's not fair to not be. And I'm like, it's not fair. I must live. I have. I'm a very important person. We can't.
And I mentioned the music thing. There have been some drive-in concerts. One of my current favorite bands did a drive-in concert up in Butler County, and I know people who went and they sat on their cars and cars were parked far apart, and just that's not the the music would have been fine, but that's not the experience I want. But there was also people wandering around. They posted pictures. There's people wandering around without masks and all the stuff. And I don't want to do that. As much as I miss this, I don't want to do that.
Right. So I don't know what will it take. Do you guys? What will it take to make you feel safe being on campus? Either of you. Do you need to have vaccine ready? I guess we're probably not going to, but before, if they're really going to let Tristyn in the spring or winter, you're clearly not going to be vaccinated by then. So what will it take to make you feel safe enough? Will that be just good rules, people following rules?
I feel like
Or does it even matter at this point? It's just just want to be not on my couch, not making YouTube videos from a closet.
Yeah, I think that definitely good rules are important, but more so just like choosing. I'm sure that they give us some liberty in choosing our pods, so choosing people who wouldn't go and party and do the stupid things that are causing the outbreaks on campuses.
I don't even know how that works. I honestly don't. I don't know how they pick them, because we don't have the.
It's like MTV's The Real World. They pick random people and throw you together for the terrible dynamics of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful.
This is all a reality show.
What about you, Sophie? What will make you decide you're willing to go next year?
I think just like schools taking responsibility and doing what will make other students feel safe. I personally believe that the masks are a good idea, and they are helping and working. And socially distancing is also something that is working and that we should continue, and for some people start doing. And so I think just implementing those things would make me feel safer, that those are things that the school thinks are important and believes we should be doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it clearly varies by school. Like I honestly do feel pretty safe at my school. They make them take this questionnaire every morning of, to self-isolate. They've set rules. There's no penalty for if you're told if you don't feel sick. I mean, if you feel sick, don't come to class. There's no penalty for it. Like we'll work something out. Like that is the rule that they have set, and everybody seems to be following everything. I worry because it is a small, it's a tiny little town where the school is, and I don't live in the town. I live in actual Pittsburgh. So to me, I just feel like I'm the biggest risk to the campus because I'm coming from a bigger city. And I mean that. Like every time I go there, it's just like I'm probably more, and I'm not sick. I've been very careful. Like I said, like we said, since this all started, I barely leave my house up until this started. But it just seems like, it seems like they're doing their best. But then I look at some of those other schools where they have people, where they have people having those parties like I was talking about, which just seems massively irresponsible. I don't know what it would take for me to feel comfortable living on campus right now. But I'm also not 18 anymore. So I don't know if I would have been different back then. So I feel bad for you guys is basically it. But I'm also amazed with how well either of you are handling. I mean, I'm sure you're both very, like, is bored even the right word? Like, it's just, you said it's like sort of still being in high school in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't like, obviously Tristyn's in school and she's like doing stuff, but for me, it just like feels like break. I mean, going to work, but like I don't really have much else to do.
Like an extended summer, I guess. Yeah. I guess that's something. You have money. You'll have money. You'll have money, for when there are places to go again. There's nowhere to spend it, but you can buy, I don't know, stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
I guess that helps. I don't have places to go and spend it all.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I have no answers. Wayne, do you have any answers?
Yeah, I have no answers. Just wish you both the best in dealing with this sort of thing. It just, I mean, the pressure of this time of life for you guys, it's there for everybody, no matter what's going on. Just the transitions and the age and all that stuff. And now here's a pandemic on top of that. So it's just
I can't even imagine. Any advice I could possibly give either of them is just like any story I could tell about freshman year. I feel like either of them can just flat out trump. It's like, people were dying just by breathing when I was 18. It's like, oh fuck, yeah, okay, sorry.
Shut up, old man, with you and your stories of good times and pleasure.
Right. I mean, I can't. I mean, just parties aside, the fun of college a lot of times was just like, oh, it's Friday night. Nobody feels like going out, but nobody feels like going to sleep either. Let's just stay up till 4 a.m. playing spade. Right. Like,
yeah. And
I used to do that all the time.
Just those dumb small social events where you're just hanging out with your friends, not doing anything college related other than you're all there and have nothing better to do.
Right.
And you sit and talk. Those are those conversations, say those lifelong friends, the conversations where you discover who you are and discuss, to quote Douglas Adams, life, the universe, and everything. Mm-hmm. And those are some of the best conversations you'll ever have. And I probably shouldn't be telling you this because you're not having them.
It's so funny because like all my professors and just people who are upperclassmen always mention something about how things were before, and we're all like, okay, thanks for telling us
Thanks.
So I don't know what to tell you. Wayne doesn't know what to tell you, but thank you both for being here. Tristyn, where can people find you?
My Instagram is at Tristyn.Thomas. My YouTube is Tristyn Thomas. Pretty simple. So that's it. Thank you guys so much. This was really fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, Tristyn, and good luck with everything.
And what about you, Sophie?
I think I just want to shout out this app that I've started using for anybody who is like me and just wants to get COVID away, but also wants to help. It's called COVID Symptom Study. And basically all you do is log, your age and if you're having any symptoms, and even if you're not having any, and it's helping study COVID for doctors, and just a way to help if anybody out there listening is wanting to help.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Wayne, what about you?
Hey, I actually posted a blog entry this week for the first time in months.
What?
I know. Yeah. And it's, nothing to do with any of this stuff, just kind of things part of the whole pandemic that I'm tired of is how the pandemic and the current political situation has just co-opted every conversation. So this was an attempt to just write about the kind of shit I wrote about before. So it's
you wrote about an album from 20 years ago.
Yeah, I wrote about an album. Yeah, it was this year is the 25th anniversary of the release of one of my Desert Island albums, PJ Harvey's "To Bring You My Love," and I just kind of wrote about it. Nothing huge. Although here's the academic goober I am. I wrote that, and I was reading some stuff, and as you know, Mav, I will pick up books on academic essays on music stuff. And this week I discovered that someone in 2015, Rutledge, published an academic study on PJ's performance in her videos. And I just got all giddy. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because I'm me. But yeah, my blog is just wayne-wise.com, and it'll be in the show notes as always.
Yep. And let's see, you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, all of the places, always at Chris Maverick, or on my blog, which I have not updated in months because Wayne disease rubbed off on me, and I've just been too busy. My blog, chrismaverick.com, both of those linked in the show notes. You can follow the show on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook at Vox Popcast. You can follow the show's blog at www.voxpopcast.com, where we talk about whatever we're going to talk about next week. You can join the conversation. You can ask us questions that we will address on the show. You can suggest other show ideas to us. You can comment on this show and tell us what you thought. Say hi to the girls. They both appreciate it because they're clearly two lonely young women who can't leave their homes. That just sounded way scarier than it was meant to be. They're lovely. I love you both. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I hope that things get better for you guys too.
Thanks.
If you enjoy this show, and we certainly hope you do, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or wherever the hell else you get podcasts from. And do us a favor, leave us a 5-star review, especially on iTunes. That helps other people find the show, especially if you don't just rate the show, but if you write a little something. We've got a couple of recent ones there. We definitely appreciate it. Makes us feel good, makes us popular. And again, Wayne and I are also both lonely and not leaving our house and need something to do. So we're not really any better.
I'm so sick of my pod. That's not true. Not true. I love you guys.
I'd like to thank Maximilian of Thoughtform Music for our epic theme song, building ever so more epically and playing us out. I'd like to thank both of our guests once again for joining us. I'd like to thank you at home for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you. Bye.
All right, men, listen up. I'm going to see to it that each and every one of you is taken care of. You will be provided with the best possible food, shelter, and accommodation.
We will try to provide you.
Now let's move it on! Move it!